Ed and Gary,
Jeff,
Gary.
Ed, Gary. Okay.
And Sandy.
Okay. Take a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. I'd like to make a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any questions? Is anybody on the public line? Other than Ally and,
I know there is not.
assuming that other guy is Gary? Gary, you there?
He was there.
He was? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Looks like he dropped off.
Oh, he did it. He's 547.
He'll be back. He's probably driving.
What's the other number there?
That's my phone.
Ah, okay. Technology, tech update.
Evening, everyone. So we have some tech updates for you. We are yesterday we're happy to host the quarterly Apple update. So it was the fall update from Apple. We were hosting about 13 different districts from all over Connecticut. And we were able to present some of the things we've been able to do in terms of technology, ever since COVID. And it turns out that Torrington actually is pretty much leading with several, technologies that we do have and keeping our students safe and giving them access to things. And I was very, happy to hear that, other districts are looking up to us and are trying to get to the same level. So I was happily surprised, and everybody, everything the presentation we gave was very well received. So I'm proud of everything that we were able to accomplish. So kudos to everyone on the team. And yeah, it was really neat. And then let me give you a social media update. So some really neat posts. Of course, we had NBC30 there a couple of days ago for the choir and string quartet, or something that they were recording, which was really amazing. And then another post that was really well received was, of course, Kyle's reception for being teacher of the year. So really wonderful, and it certainly got the message. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Look what happened between October, November, and November, December. Our Facebook reach went up by 33%. It was phenomenal. So really proud of everyone. And it's, we've got some really cool news to tell, and the word's definitely getting out there. Same thing on Parent Square. Just enjoying reading the teachers' posts. Before, we were using Parent Square mainly on a building level, but it's been really nice to see on a teacher level as well, and how much engagement we've had. Look at some of the buildings. Today's only December 6th. And really, we've only had 4 days of school this month. So it's Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we've had 20 something posts from some of the schools, which is amazing. So the feedback that we're getting from parents is really nice. And just look at one of the posts from a teacher just today for keeping everybody up to date. So it's been really nice, and it's definitely taken off.
Okay.
That's it for that.
Any questions? You done, Ally?
No, I'm here.
Or is there more?
No, that's it for the media update.
Okay. District phone system internet review.
Yep. So let me give you an overview of what we're currently dealing with. And so that's what the hide this bar. Are you able to see this?
Yep.
So that's essentially the current infrastructure in a nutshell. We have pretty much a star type network. And let me do I can do a pointer here. Anyway, so we have a phone system at every single site of the district. We have two core systems. One is at the middle school, one is at the high school. They each take about half of the district's phone load as master systems. With that, you have two phone lines coming in, essentially. You have one coming into the high school and you have one coming into the middle school, indicated over here at the bottom, the one that goes into the high school, and then on top, the one that goes into the middle school. So from there, you have, with the red arrows, everything that's connected to the middle school system, which is central office, Torrington, East School, and then anything connected to the high school system, which is Southwest, Vogel-Wetmore, and Forbes, and high school, of course. So if we lose essentially a phone line at the middle school, like what had happened a couple of weeks ago, we will lose phones at East, Torrington, middle school, and central office. Unfortunately, these lines are old copper lines, and Frontier used to guarantee them to be fixed within a couple of hours. Now I think it's more like days, unfortunately. And it's really become to the point where we're unable to guarantee stable phone service. So we've moved ahead, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. By this time next month, probably not, but we have 90 to 120 day leadway to have this all taken care of to something that looks like this. We'll be moving to what's called a SIP-based phone system. So the phone system right now until the new building comes online stays the same, but the way we're bringing in the phone lines will differ. We're running fiber to the middle school, and then from there, it'll break out into a digital phone line. And the same thing at the high school, we're using the existing CEN service. And from there, we'll have two brand new lines that are on fiber, providing phone service to all our phones. The difference is that they are redundant. So if one side fails automatically with anything that we have to do on our end, all phone numbers will switch automatically to the other site. If, God forbid, we lose both lines, and at that point, that would have to be a major catastrophe of some sort, the phone system will then automatically fail over to cell phones that we pre-populate. So everything will happen automatically in real time. So you will no longer have the issue trying to call the school and saying, and you get in a fast busy or something like that. We can also still on the fly are able to make adjustments in real time without having to call the phone company to forward numbers to specific extensions or cell phones should the need arise. So that should be implemented, I'm going to say, within the next 120 days. The construction for the circuits have started at the middle school.
Quick question, Ali. Is that the Frontier fiber feeding those SIP trunks, or using CEN and then
We're using,
SIP
going to be
trunks?
using CEN at the high school, which is actually Crown Castle fiber, and then the middle school is also going to be in Crown Castle.
So it's still, that's all CEN network, and they're going to provide the SIP trunks, or
No,
using
it's actually, so the high school will be on the CEN network. The connection to middle school is going to be a different provider. The fiber is still going to be run by Crown Castle because they own all the fiber, but it will be a different provider. So you actually have two different providers.
Are we upgrading the phone system, or does it have SIP cards in it, or are we using a SIP to PRI handoff?
We're using SIP to PRI handoffs until the new building comes online, and you will see as part of the capital request that we need to upgrade the phone system in the district to be on par by the time the new building comes online. So yes, we do want to be able to have the same phone system as we have in the new building, but it's something that has to be financially planned for the next year and a half or two.
Perfect. And the last question is, once we have Crown Castle with a different provider at TMS, do we have plans, or do we need capital to make it so that our internet connection is also redundant throughout the district?
So I'm gonna give you something to think about of that. This network is a star network, which means everything comes to the high school. So even if you have internet in another building, all traffic comes to the high school. So if the high school is down for whatever reason, having another internet connection still would not work. The high school internet connection itself is redundant as it is a ring. So you have two pieces of fiber coming into that. But from a network construction perspective, having another internet connection in another building, if you lose the high school, still would not give you internet. Because the high school is the data center for the district.
So the connection between, like, because they're geographic, the connection between Southwest, is it the fiber goes all the way back? Are we leasing fiber back to here? Or are we using CEN in those locations and just using them to switch it in the background? Do you know?
We have leased fiber, but each fiber connection comes to the high school.
Oh, so it's actually a point-to-point back to the high school?
Correct. It's a star. Everything's at the high school. The only difference for some reason is Midgeon. Midgeon goes to the middle school.
Well, thank you. So just after that conversation, so as Ali has said, if we lose phones in one location, we will not continue to have the issues that we've had as of next month. If we lose any of the fiber connections, or if we lose internet at the high school, that's still going to affect pretty much the entire district. So I'm sure that's a large, it is a large capital request to resolve that, but.
Right. It depends, Jeff. We can lose one leg of the internet and still be up and running. But if we lose internet altogether, then that would mean probably a complete cable failure. Our electronics to power the internet and everything else are redundant. But if somebody were to dig up the entire fiber that goes to the buildings, there's not much we could do.
Well, it's like when CEN goes down. If CEN goes down, unless there's a redundant connection at the high school, we are going to go down fairly district-wide, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Ali. I appreciate it. Can we get a copy of that diagram? It's very useful, I think.
Yep, I will send it to you. I will send it to Marissa right now.
Thank you.
I just come up with two questions. Is there the work you're doing now, is there any major budgetary impacts on everything that's being done now?
Absolutely. It's going to save you $8,000 over 3 years.
Good job, Ally.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's for the leaks.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And the capital request, it's going to be 24, 25?
And forward, yeah, but hopefully starting 24, 25.
Okay.
That's the plan for it. We don't know when we'll get
Okay.
it.
So that's a good start to our 24, 25.
Exactly. Great start, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, moving on. Facilities. Prelude right into our next topic of 24-25 capital plan and review recommendations for 24-25 capital.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't get it text earlier.
Capital plan. So it's really-
Talk about 24-25 recommendations for 25.
Let's get one of these.
No, recommendations for 24-25, right?
This is technology.
This is,
I appreciate it.
As long as you guys know.
yes, thank you. Mary Ann, get those. You need the other one.
You need one more. You have one of those, Scott.
Freezing. This is last year, or the one initially proposed to us?
No,
This is yours?
yes.
Okay, all right, sorry.
It's 2 pages, or I did it on the back page. I broke it down, going using our facility plan, and I took a look at some of the stuff that we did. And some stuff that was added that wasn't in the plan. So I broke it down to each school. I do have stuff in for Forbes School, but in the totals at the back end, I don't have them totaled. But if you just want to take a look at each school first, kind of absorb it, and then we'll go over to the back page.
Yeah.
Give you a couple minutes.
Oh, you prioritize them too?
I did.
Perfect.
The reimbursement column, that's the amount eligible for reimbursement, not the reimbursable amount, right?
Right, that's the amount eligible for reimbursement. And then 70% is on the back page.
Nobody tell Gary that the curb replacement is priority 2.
Did you hear Ed? So
I
don't
said,
tell
yeah,
Gary.
nobody tell Gary that the Torrington curb replacement is priority 2. Be here all night.
Sandy volunteered to fix it, just so.
Sandy complains when the chunks are in the parking places.
Sandy, I was gonna help you fix it, though. It's not you're doing it by
Put
yourself.
some Play-Doh in it.
There you go.
I don't know about that.
Piece it back together.
The art department using that big play, though.
The art
You can put the kids to work. Yeah.
Use different colored Play-Doh and,
I'm all for it, Sandy. Let's do it tomorrow.
Recess in the parking lot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Having recess in the
It's an
parking lot.
internship. Job skills training.
I don't know how that would go over. I guess it would be in the
And
wording.
then we'll patch
You know
the
what, you don't ask
sidewalk with the
permission,
rest
you
of the
just-
I
Play-Doh.
was just gonna say, I think it's all in the wording. It's how we It's
All
a
right,
fun
so
experience.
I'm guessing you absorbed as much as we're gonna absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you can see on the back page, I kind of put everything together. Considering these, the OSGR availability of 72.5%. This comes with a total of 2.748960. Included without it, obviously, we have to prepare for 5905. 900, as you see, is the totals at the end. Those OSGR, they're there, but they're not 100% guaranteed. You got to work for them, obviously, but that's the number plugged into it. And the projects that are available are I did put them to the side, as you can see the right hand, but they also have double stars next to them to give you an idea which ones are eligible for.
How much, I'm sorry. Question, Glenn? How much was out of our pocket after the town's total and if we received these grants, or is it all covered? I'm trying to do the math really quick in my head,
I'm doing it.
which is 59059, right? So is it potentially all could be covered?
I think the town total is what we would actually have to
Ask
be asked
them
to
for.
see.
That's what we have to
Ah.
ask the town. Total is
Okay.
what we-
Whatever.
Right, okay, the 2.7.
Yeah, I only see existing funds available for the roof at TMS, which is a complex funding
Right.
scheme.
Oh, it says Vogel.
That was
Vogel.
very well said.
Yeah, that was very
That
well
was very
said.
well said. We've done a lot of digging on that, and that's a good placeholder considering that column to the right. And if the column to the right's a real amount, then the placeholder amount is adequate. But your complex analysis is well stated.
It's been a project for the last few years on our document. So, I'm sorry, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did go out of order.
I have a real question now instead of a comment. So my sense here, then, we would have to be asking for the city when we submit this to them, or rather, I guess this committee would be asking the board to vote on the full amount, right? So we would be voting on the $5.9 million amount, which I think is the relevant thing here, is that's what we're being asked to vote on. Although I would ask, what's your sense let's say in a dream world, right, we get 5.9 million from the city capital. Is your sense that most of these projects would, based on what you think now, get a good OSCG&R reimbursement? Like there's no issues where we may end up not getting it? So I think that's going to be relevant when we have to go and ask the city for this money. You know, we should tell them if we think something is very likely or maybe not so likely to be reimbursable.
Okay, I don't have an exact which ones would be more susceptible to saying no to. I guess a little bit more digging on that would have to come.
But you feel pretty confident when you.
I feel all of these are eligible.
Okay.
I feel all of these are eligible. According to, the research I've done and gone through
Right.
everything, they seem to be all eligible. I didn't, a lot of them came from the study that we did. And some of the work that John did before me that went through some of the legwork to see if it was eligible or not, so.
It's just a matter of if we are granted
Right.
the funds.
The funds, yeah.
How many applicants there are, I mean, it's really the same as with any grant.
Right. And we'll be getting a much better picture on the middle school roof in the upcoming week. We have a meeting with Gale Associates who have finished or in the process of finishing their assessment to get us that better idea what it's going to cost, and then it goes out to bid, of course. This is all based on a number that's been out there for a while, so we're, hopefully.
Yeah.
And my last question, just to make sure I'm seeing it right. So you have an asterisk, a single asterisk for anything that you say is grant funding possible. I don't actually see anything marked with that unless I'm missing it.
Say it again.
So on the back page, right, you've got double asterisk is OSTG&R reimbursement
Yeah, that's
eligible.
just that account, just
Right.
to let you know that that's that account, so everything above it, that's got
Right.
double.
Well, but you have a single asterisk for grant funding possible, but I don't actually see any of the projects marked.
Yes, I don't
Okay.
have anything for that.
Okay,
don't
I
have
just
anything
wanted
for
to make sure that was right.
Yep.
Just to let everybody know, we go through Donna to see if there's any
Yeah.
grant money for
Right.
any capital
She's
projects.
seen
so
this.
We
Okay.
bring her lunch and shake her down.
we're leaving no stone unturned.
Okay. That's all I got.
Jeffrey?
The $1 million turf field, we have some money already in contingency for the turf. Are you saying we need $1 million more for 24,
That's the number that was
25?
there, I have it on every year, whether it's somewhere else that I'm not aware of.
No, actually, and it's on it was going to be talked about tonight in budget because we needed to find out, we have to talk about, is it still $1 million, which it probably isn't, because it's, we figure how many years old at this point. So the discussion was, how old is it? What's the new price to do the upkeep that has to be done, the maintenance at 10 years?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be well over $1 million. I don't know what's in the fund right now. We don't have $1 million yet, right?
No.
No, right. No, sorry.
We were also thinking there may have been a pre-negotiated replacement in like original contract. Somebody says, it wasn't me, somebody suggested that may be the case. There was when you put it in, there was a pre-negotiated, hey, 10 years from now, we'll do it with an escalator of X percentage.
Do we know where the contract is?
But I think that's the whole, that's why you have to put the reimbursement number in to make that number that was initiated 10 years ago. So whatever that number was, let's say it was 1.2 million, you have to divide that back by 10, which is the amount that was supposed to be set aside budgetarily. I don't, that's in my historical, that's how it's done. I don't know to the exact point you're
It might be
speaking
10
of,
million.
but like, well, no, but I think so, like, for example, that's why like the 200,000, that has caused us a lot of conversation. The numbers like that to keep adding back towards whatever that reimbursable number is, I think that's how I've always understood the turf replacement.
That is right. That's what I've been doing. But I don't know if the cost is pre-negotiated.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
I just know the estimate we've always had was about $1 million to replace it.
And it's due when?
I don't know when the
I
I
think
think
it's
the
coming
math
up-
was, it was 10 years, $1 million, 100,000 a year had to come out of our surplus into this.
Right, but I think we're at
fund account.
what year are we, at 6, 7? How
We're
old
getting
is the field?
close. Yeah.
6. I don't know, you would know better than me. I thought it was 6 for some reason in my head, but
I'm not
Just
sure.
wondering if we
Well, that
go-
brings up a very good question. All right, the clock started date, whatever the date was, and it estimated at a replacement in 10 years.
What's
Maybe
the
it may be
condition?
12, who knows?
What's the condition
But
then?
I think we should find out, when did that clock start? When was the turf field put in? When's the expected 10-year timeline? And
Is there a way
From
to
what I
get it
understand-
extended?
excuse me, sorry. So from what I understand, we do put away $100,000 a year towards that.
Mhm.
So we got to find out where that
And
is.
this year we did 200, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. The,
Right.
the,
For
the
last
trouble
year.
is where it now lives and who now controls it, right?
So
That's
before
the
we put
issue.
in another million for turf field, why don't we find that information out? Like, how much do we already have in the bucket?
Yeah, we'll have to revise this down, hopefully,
Yeah.
the number we have to request. Because we've put money in somewhere, wherever it lives, every year that I've been on the board. We've met that commitment.
Yeah, next time I see Ed, and I'll grab him and I'll sit down and I'll do the who, what, why, and where with him. And
He was the business manager at the time.
yes,
Yeah. Right off the top of his head, I'm sure, right? He'll remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he and Mario did the building
field.
committee, so he may also have a sense of whether there's any kind of locked-in price for replacement or anything like that. Because he was there.
yeah, he has all the info, because he reiterates every time I see him, don't touch my 100,000. God, I'd be 100,000.
Where does it actually
Bless you.
live?
Now it does live an account, so I know there isn't a
Right.
fund/account that the money's sitting in. That's partly what the only comment in the audit was,
Right.
that he put it into just an account, so to speak, and they said it needed to be in a fund. So that's what the adjusting entries are for. So-
I'm sorry, actually, I know I cut you off. So
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
Is that fund, is that the Board of Ed's fund, or is that a city capital reserve fund?
I don't know how to
Okay.
answer that.
Okay. That's my fear, is that it's a city-controlled capital reserve
Well, it
fund.
was explained, and I think we might have it in the notes of the minutes, that it's definitely earmarked for that. Like, it cannot be touched for anything unless,
It might be in the bond covenant. That would make sense, actually. I think that it's something like that, where the city has to earmark this money in
Yes.
some fashion. Yeah, so then Glenn's question is the right one. We have to figure out how much money is there, because we would be able then to revise this number down, which is good. Or if you have other projects and you feel confident in the number, we could always, add them onto the capital plan.
Ellen, you had a question?
Yes. Do we have a copy of that contract?
I'll find it.
Because we would have to do that every year.
What?
Every 10 years it has to be. From my understanding, when they first put it in, every 10 years you have to replace it.
We wouldn't have to once the bond covenants are done, because it's a deal essentially with, my understanding is this is a deal with the state for their reimbursement for the project, is they said, well, you got to cough up some money to replace it. So once the bonds are paid off and that whole deal with them is done, in theory, we could then neglect the field, although we certainly don't want to.
Right.
But I think we're only bound legally by this obligation while the project is still being paid off.
But we still should
We should, yeah.
keep it up. So.
Yes, of course.
We're not bound by any means to say that year, 10 years and one day, we need to replace the field. We're not bound by that.
Not after this time.
No, but you would be covered, to Ed's point, contractually to meet the obligations of the million or 1.2. But
And
if
the
the field
warranty.
lasts 3 more, 5 more, 10 more years, because we've taken such good care of it, that's even better. But then to your point, we would want to put continual maintenance, but
Right.
we would have been bound by our obligation legally to say we've met the requirement.
And also the warranty on it.
That's correct.
Jeffrey?
I would suspect that there's an inspection process that can happen for a reasonable amount of money, that just to protect the district to, hey, this says it's a 10-year lifetime, you had our, you know where that can go. It might not be a bad idea to see if there's a,
So we have that maintenance in our maintenance contract. They do the impact test on the turf. They go around, they test the spots, they fill the spots, they demagnetize the field. That's all part of their maintenance that we do
so there's
currently.
they probably can give us an idea of where it is in its lifespan.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, I think the fact that it's been so thoroughly maintained, and that's kudos to everyone here. They have not flagged it in, from the last report we got. But yeah, I don't know if they would ever state how many years, but I would just say, I think it's like, if someone comes out to look at your boiler, right? They say it's in good working order. I don't think they're going to give you the 10-year guarantee on it, right? I think to your point, we have not heard that it's in any poor condition. And the last time they did a demagnetization and the fill, there wasn't even a lot of fill that they had to replace in spots. But it is pretty impressive how they do it to test the impact in certain spots. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. All right. Any more questions on the turf? Huh? Will you still have more to discuss on this, or? No?
Any other questions?
I had one question. The Southwest replaced fire alarm system, didn't we have a mishap or something over the summer where we were forced to replace it? Was it half replaced?
The
or?
lines were cut.
Yeah.
I think we had an emergency meeting to spend $20,000 to get the phone lines up and running, right? So what's the
No, I'm talking
one on
about the fire
five for
panel.
It was,
the
Jeffrey would like to.
I remember there was a retrofit panel that went in. So it was, it was a Honeywell system and the controller fried. So they put the retrofit Honeywell controller into the unit. We did not touch any of the sensors, none of the actual peripheral pieces were replaced. It was just a retrofit of the panel because it was still compatible with all of our. So I'm not sure what Dean's suggesting, but it may be other items to be replaced.
would prevent something like that from happening again?
This would be kind of a replacement of, like we're doing at the middle school right now, as far as the fire panel goes. Now,
Okay.
questioning whether, so you're talking about all the devices and all that, nothing was touched.
Devices weren't touched.
And something inside that panel was, but we're not sure if the whole
The
panel.
whole panel was changed.
The whole panel was changed.
Over the summer.
Over the summer when the
Yeah.
emergency repair
Yeah.
occurred.
Yeah,
Right.
they fried the panel, they replaced the panel.
This number's gonna be adjusted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll go
It's gonna be
down.
adjusted.
The
Right, okay.
panel supported the
good.
new and old Honeywell standard.
So maybe by like 20, maybe
Somebody
20,000.
clipped it,
Okay, and blew it up.
and we had to buy a new
Okay.
panel that was compatible
Yeah,
with
so that would
everything.
be adjusted.
Okay. So I have a question. The ADA compliance issues at some of the buildings, they're more significant than the others. Is it things that we've been working around and we still can?
It has been some things that we worked around. I looked into it and I pulled up, kind of what ADA requires. It's kind of a thing that Petroselli did for us, just to let us know, like, at what point do we really got to look at it? Number one, the first priority is approach and entrance. Number two is access to goods and services. Number three is toilet rooms. Number four is additional access. So there's a checklist of like what
So it's
what
kind
they
of
want you to do
tiered.
first. It's tiered.
All right.
What you
perfect.
can get to first.
All right.
Saying that, this was just the true ADA number that came out of this facility study. Wasn't tiered that way.
Okay. All
Wasn't tiered
right.
that way.
Okay.
But that's why I have it as a number two. to be honest
Gotcha.
with you.
So you can break it down further.
So then, depending on what we want to do there.
Right. All right. Because I recall just going off past, and I don't know if this is how we want to do it going forward, we would go through the capital list and determine in budget, what are we going to, how are we going to finagle this? Where can we move things?
Once we get our number, yeah,
Right.
we'll
How can we
almost
push
certainly
things out?
have to, right? City of Torrington is not going to give us $5.9 million. We'll almost
We don't
certainly,
even get $1 million.
Right.
What's the most, I don't, will we get 750
so we'll have
for
to make
capital?
some
Is the most we ever
choices.
got? Yeah. Which it's unfortunate.
But it's incumbent on us to request what we think we
What we
need.
need, right? Okay. All right, that was all I had.
It might be shared a good timeline to get this done, right? What was our dates where
You're
So-
gonna present that in
you present that budget?
Correct.
Okay.
the budget schedule, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what you're, yeah, that's what you're.
Yeah. Nice job, thanks, Dean. I know we're kind of under the gun to get this done, but I know it's a lot.
One more question, the Chromebook, this page, this is in addition to the 5.9?
Because this is Ally's portion. This is the tech piece.
So in addition
Yes.
to, okay.
Yep, that's an
Cool.
add-on. More money.
Okay.
Scott loves money.
So really 7.5. What we'll be asking the city for.
Or so, yeah.
Okay, so we do it, go for it, go big or go home.
Worst we can say is no. That's, I agree.
Any other questions there? Moving on. Foyer status update.
Yeah, I've been on the phone for the last week, and we are not going to meet our Christmas holiday window, unfortunately.
Which one was this? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, this was Torrington Middle School.
That's cool.
TMS.
This is TMS. So we're ready to roll. Contract's been signed. Burlington Construction is a general contractor. They're using Cherry Hill Glass and also another company as far as the security, total security solutions. Had trouble manufacturing it, so the glass will ship directly. Hopefully, 1/12 will be the ship date of the material. So they missed the deadline by a tremendous amount, and everybody's pretty agitated at this point. So the email's been going back and forth and the phone calls and stuff where we're at. So they're looking more like at starting at our next vacation day, which would be probably like a Martin Luther King Day or
Is there a February break?
yeah, something like that, if it
They
works.
say how many days it takes to complete?
No, I haven't been able to get a schedule out of them either, a hard schedule out of them either. It's,
Yeah.
so that's where we stand.
Wasn't there another vestibule we were talking about too? Wasn't there two of them?
Forbes. Was Forbes the one that needed the whole?
Rebuild front entrance.
Well, that's different, rebuild front entrance. No, we talked about Torrington. Torrington and,
Southwest.
yeah, and Southwest.
I thought one of them had structural changes that needed to be done, that was gonna cost a lot more. That wasn't Forbes?
Torrington.
It was
Torrington.
Torrington?
Yes,
Okay.
Where's that one at?
it's not. So
I think that one was,
Torrington is on this year's, Torrington, the lock foyer.
Might have been one of the ones that got pushed further out.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It is on this year.
the expense was significant.
135.
Did we decide not to do it because there was no money?
135.
Yeah, so
supposed to be
that's
done last
in
summer.
this year's, the 135 is in this year's, so an RFP's gotta be written for that and gone out, so there's, I haven't done anything with it yet.
And that 135, was that based on an estimate? Like, did an architect come in and look at that?
I believe that was based on an architect, I believe, same, Joe Alcata, we have numbers on that from him,
Oh, okay.
and then that fell through the cracks. I don't even know if that's the right term, but anyway, that's where it is now,
All right. So then when it goes out, I'm just
yeah,
concerned it's gonna be,
more,
yeah,
me too.
yeah.
But if it gets moving, then there's a strong possibility that the work can be done this summer.
Yeah, if it gets moving, yeah, I think so. Again, the delay of this, the front that's, with the middle school now, I don't know, that shouldn't affect it, but,
You just gotta get it on a contract by June 30th. Correct.
Right. Okay.
And then we're covered.
We had Southwest as well.
TMS Torrington.
yes, also,
Southwest, yep.
engineering is not locked for it, absolutely, yes.
So what was we last,
95, what are you asking?
we didn't have, it was a discussion at the last facilities meeting over where that process was. There was, somebody looked at it for drawings, there wasn't an estimate, there was an estimate, we had a bunch, nobody was really quite sure where that process
Yeah, I just
sat
have,
at.
the RFP's gotta be written, so, we've gotta get some prices on it. I haven't got any prices on both of those schools.
TMS is pending, Torrington and Southwest are pending RFP.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions there? I'm not sure what this item was. RFP update?
It was that same similar, they piggyback because we wanted to make sure that we were going to be RFP'd if we went out for the other ones, I believe, that's why I was there. So I think the two tie in.
For these two?
Yeah.
The Torrington and Southwest RFPs?
Correct.
And I think we also talked about the fire alarm system too, because it was just about to go out and it's out.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, I did see something across, there was a fire alarm system went out to bid.
Went out to bid, yeah.
What school was that for?
That was for the middle school.
The middle school?
Yeah, so that
Oh,
went
okay.
out, that's, we had a walkthrough and it is due, 14th, I think. So we'll
Did you have a lot of interest?
Three contractors. So,
We always only had one.
oh, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
big,
And we put it out on a
That's good.
DAS website and a city one, so Waterbury paper. So another guy inquired but never came, so let's show up for the walkthrough.
I mean, as long as we get this stuff on a
With
contract, it could be a
options.
nice busy summer in our schools, right?
Yeah.
That's the house here.
All right. Any other questions?
Just one fast one. Did the plowing company ever sign the contract?
Oh, yeah.
I was just curious.
Oh, yeah, no,
There was that whole-
locked in.
That's what I thought.
Dean brought him into my office and forced him. I mean, no.
So we got all those protected.
All done.
Thank you.
All right. Topics for future meetings.
Oh, I have
Do
one
the
question,
normal
Glenn.
tech, oh, you do?
Sorry,
I'm
I
sorry.
do.
Did I
No,
miss
I
you?
just, it just popped in my head. When you talked about the snow plowing contract, Dean, this is probably for you, are the buildings going to be marked where curbs and things are? Because ours, it hasn't been marked, I didn't notice it.
Oh, they went out a couple weeks ago we've been out a couple of times, like, before we gave him the job, we went out.
We have the poles on our property now. With
CMS
the
does too.
perimeter and
I
everything.
haven't noticed
Maybe they
ours,
just haven't,
so.
Yeah.
maybe they haven't.
Yeah,
gotten
that's
there
why
yet.
it just was a quick
No, we
question
went
about
out
that.
and then,
Okay.
the contractor knows exactly where we want them to put the snow.
Okay,
And
good.
we went to it a couple times, so.
Great, thank you.
And 24, they'll see the big curbing standing up, so they.
Sorry.
Few missing trees and light poles too.
All right.
You get vented more.
So we'll do the normal tech stuff. Anything else anybody want to add to Ally's stuff other than the tech and social media? No, I'll take that as a no. Capital plan, we're good. We're gonna talk about that at budget. We should be good. We'll stay on that. No need to beat a horse to death on this one. Let's wait 2 months before we go back to and review 23, 24. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
2 months?
23, 24, 24, 25.
No, 23, 24. 24, 25 is gonna be submitted by then anyway.
Oh.
But we're gonna talk about that in your meeting.
Thank you.
I guess the FOIA status too, give you another 2 months on that one. It's kind of early to get 2 RFPs put together on top of the roof RFP. It's a lot of work. Did someone help you put together all these RFPs and stuff? Do we?
Yeah,
We,
worked out well. So the RFP, the only RFP that I have written so far is for the middle school, for the fire alarm.
fire alarm.
So the roof, we're still waiting for the design.
But the architect's gonna help with that as far as. the-
Yeah, he's gonna have more
Plan
on
and
with that,
spec.
yeah.
So 2 months on that. We got a light agenda next month. It's right before Christmas. Perfect, John, right?
Yay.
That's good.
No,
Anything
right
else
After
relevant?
Christmas.
After Christmas.
We're not meeting till January.
After Christmas, right?
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
good. We'll kick off the
Sorry,
new year
I
slow.
forget it's already December.
Crazy.
Anything relevant anybody else thinks we should have on the agenda? No? Comments for the good of the order. We'll start with Melissa.
I do.
You do?
Yes, I actually love Paris Square, so I just want to let you know, I think Aaron, I love
that's
Paris
great.
Square.
Is Ally still
All
on?
updates on there, so.
That's great.
Jason? No? Sue?
I just, congratulations to Ally and the tech team on being the leader in the region for the county. Thank you, good job. That's it.
Mr. Wilson?
Great meeting. Thanks, everybody.
All set, thank you.
Good meeting?
Yeah.
Excited to see that Torrington's leading the way in the Parent Square Post.
Oh, very nice.
Competitive, I like it.
Thanks passing. Ally. John? All right, nice. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Back.
Beautiful.